Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's up, y'all? Let me send this to H. What up? What up? Zach, what's up? PSQ, what's up with you? David RC, what's going on? What y'all up to? Let me send this thing to JQ. Let's see here. In the traffic, I see you. Marcus Butler, what's up? George, what's going on? Y'all all right? Can y'all hear me all right? Man, we ran. Y'all ran Columbus Saturday. Okay. I want to go to I want to check. Do they run A scale at the Columbus track? Hold on. Let me see something. I don't know. Okay. Okay. But yeah, what's up, AR? AR? Y'all hold on 1 minute. Let me send this email to Joseph. Hold on. I'm gonna do it like this. This. Okay. Invite. Copy link. Email. To JQ. JQ at. JQ. Here I come, y'all. Dash products. Sent. Okay. But yeah, Freak, what's up, man? Hey y'all, what's going on? I just sent that link. So is the sound okay, y'all? Hey, I just woke up. Okay. Okay. But yeah, what y'all been doing over the since we got this extra day off. Y'all been running? Did y'all run this weekend? Any? Crazy news, TLR. You've been released. Rain every day is yours. Freak, I told you, man. I told you. That bugger coming out in August. So it's something up with the 8X Elite for them to drop it that fast. I'm sure we'll make it back to the warehouse. Yeah. Okay, y'all, let me bring my partner up in here, man. So y'all can talk to him and see what's really going on. Let me bring my man on in here. JQ.
What's up?
What's up, man? You doing all right?
Late, as always.
Hey, man, it's all good. Hey, it be like that sometimes. So hey, don't even trip. But yeah, man, like I said, this my channel is basically, man, for us racers. You know, some bashers in here, some fifth scalers in here, drag race, everybody is in here, man. So just no pressure, just relax. You know, we just talk, say it like it is, straight up.
We should
Tell the
get
truth.
Lefty to share this.
I told Lefty that was going on at one, man. So we gonna see if he may come in. I don't know, but yeah, y'all just share this, man, and let's have a good podcast. But yeah, JQ, bro, I like I said, my name is Corey Jordan, man, and basically I've been in the hobby myself for like 6 years, and my sponsor before I came to JQ Racing was HB, and the reason why I like JQ, your brand, because I just like how you did the videos and your support and everything for as like the setups on the cars and stuff like that, and how you just straight up open about whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that's what really drew me in to really want to join, you know, JQ Racing. And like I said, I race with pretty much, I'm down here in Montgomery, Alabama. So I pretty much race East Coast, Southeast. I pretty much be in that region. And I pretty much run with Tony Scarcelli and Mitch Watson, Cody Watson. So, and Chauncey Mack and all them guys. And so, like I said, that's just who I am. And that's pretty much how I got really introduced to you, man. And like I say, I appreciate this opportunity, man. And you know, I appreciate it. So yeah. But yeah, JQ, man. So just tell us where you're from and everything, and so people that don't know, you know.
Yeah, so I'm from Finland and currently in Finland. Thanks to COVID, this is a new record. I've been here. I was here for almost a year without traveling, which is the first time since like the year 2000 that's happened.
Okay.
And basically, I've been here now since March of last year. I've done 3 short trips in that time. So it's amazing. I'm getting back to my roots because this is where I grew up.
Oh yeah. I understand that, man. Because it's been COVID here. Now it's more relaxed. Now we can move around more. But just say 3 months ago when everything was locked down, it was really locked down. And fortunately, we have recently, you know, been able to go to some races and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's been crazy, but it's been good now. Everything's opening back up. We're doing a little bit more racing now, so it's better here than I feel for you over there. But how's the culture? How's the culture in Finland? Like, give us a little background of the people and everything over there in Finland.
Finland is quite a small country. We only have 5.5 million people.
Yeah.
And Finnish people tend to be quite sort of closed or shy. So shy and quiet, let's put it. Not a very open culture. But
Yeah.
then after some alcoholic drinks, then they are the opposite.
Oh, okay. So y'all get crunk. Y'all open up after a few beverages. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's growing up here is, well, it's really good because Finland is one of those, crazy countries where the government actually cares about the population. So the idea is that the government is like parents in a family, okay, so the population are the kids, let's take care of them, let's give them opportunities so they can succeed, so healthcare, education, hobbies, activities, sports, all kinds of different things that you can offer people, that's really well taken care of.
Okay.
So it's if you're born into a rich, wealthy family or middle class or sort of lower middle class family in Finland, it doesn't really matter. You can get the best education or healthcare or opportunities to do hobbies or whatever you want. So that's a really great thing about growing up here, or well, any Scandinavian country really.
So y'all really support. They really support the people over there. They really support.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shoot, man, that's what's up. So, far as with how is the RC culture there? Is it more a bashing culture, or is it more of off-road racing culture like what we do?
I think that racing, for some reason, the racing is quite strong in Finland. Sort of everything. Yeah, there's Formula One drivers, rally drivers, and there's also RC racers that are world champions, European champions. So the level, even though it's a small country, the sort of top level of whatever sport or racing is usually really high. So I don't know. I think that also is linked to culture somehow, that when people decide to do something here, they tend to take it quite seriously, and think about it and do it thoughtfully and properly, So I think that's the only explanation I really have for why it is that way. But so when I started racing, there were 3 or 4, actually more. There were like 4, 5, or 6 sort of world top class RC racers who would, win European championships, world championships, be in the top 10 at the big races on road and off road. Okay. So you can imagine that a small country like this, yet the best drivers are some of the best in the world. It's kind of a weird situation, because then you go to some local race here and they are there,
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool.
Yeah, bro. Since the racing culture is pretty much strong there, who inspired you far as you starting up JQ products?
I think the idea was never really to start my own company. I only sort of knew that I wanted to have a job in the industry, because I had many summer jobs. I had to start. Wait, sorry, someone's at the door.
Go ahead.
Let me answer that.
Hey, I'm telling you, hey, this channel is laid back. We drink everything, so go ahead. So yeah, y'all, we're gonna have a Q&A session in here. So y'all get y'all questions ready and hit that thumbs up, and y'all share this, man. Like I said, we EKJ trying to grow this channel, and we get them 500 subscribers. We're gonna do something special. So y'all share this, hit them thumbs up, hit them thumbs up, hit them thumbs up, and get y'all questions together because we just laying the foundation right now. I got some juicy stuff in here to ask him. So y'all get your questions together. Get your questions together. But yeah. So yeah, get your questions together. P. Ask him that when he come back. What up, Taz? What up, Taz? What's going on? But yeah, y'all. Well, so what y'all, Lil Chilla, what's up, bro? Where you been? David Shank, what's up? Y'all hit that thumbs up now. Chilling, laying low, chilling. I got you. Hey, y'all, is my mic okay? Keenan, what's up? Keenan, you crazy. Why didn't the end of the what you said, Keenan? Why didn't the end of the finish racing skills rub off on Beaker? Hey, we'll ask him in a minute. We're gonna ask him in a minute. Keenan, I'm glad you made it, man. I'm gonna have that Keenan Pope, what's up? I'm gonna have the Q&A session, so I'm gonna put this link in the box and you may jump in when I get ready to do that part of the interview. Mike's good. Okay. I appreciate that. Gang, what to do? Where you been at, KP? You been quiet, man. You ain't been on Facebook or nothing. Chris Jenkins, what's up, Chris?
Okay, sorry about that. I'm back.
You good? You good, man. Like I said, hey, yeah. we good. But yeah, man, like I was saying, what or who inspired you, or maybe did you have a mentor, anything, or either to the negative effect? What negative thing really motivates you to start, JQ products or whatever? So
yeah. So I was saying that I had a few summer jobs, basically ever since I was 14, always during the holidays. Over the summer, had to work for, I don't remember anymore how much of the holiday, but a few months there had to work. So I had all kinds of crappy jobs, from working at a strawberry farm to the post office and warehouses and all kinds of stuff. So I already knew that, like this sort of normal working situation, it's just not going to be something that I'm gonna ever want to do. So at least if it's something that I don't enjoy. So I figured engineering would be something that would be fun, especially if it could be something in the RC industry. So that's really what I wanted to find, basically a job in RC. So as a designer, but I was just still relative sort of nobody from Finland. Yes, then people knew me as a racer, but I was still just this young racer from Finland, not some engineer or anything like that. So it wasn't possible. Like I didn't find any opportunities in the industry.
Yeah.
So then I decided that I would do it myself. Okay. And that's when I then started the company and JQ Products. So it wasn't really, I didn't really want to do it that way. But I think looking back, it's probably better that it happened this way.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you know how different situations may come up, man. And like you said, from you working those jobs that really wasn't really what you really wanted or your passion, you know what I'm saying? You really got that real world feel of how work really is, you know what I'm saying? So I can see how can that motivate somebody to really want to do their own thing. And I'm kind of like in that spot right now too. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a pretty good job with working with FedEx, but still, again, it's just it's not really where I'm pretty much where I'm going to be, as far as like where I'm at delivering. You know what I'm saying, on the truck itself. So it's like I done topped out pretty much where I'm going to be. So it's to a point where now myself I'm thinking about doing some my own things that I really want to do for real. So I understand exactly where you're coming from with that, bro. So yeah. So
Yeah.
saying that, man. So what was the difficult challenges that you was faced with developing JQ products? What were some of the challenges and stuff like that you faced?
I think that two hardest things, really. Actually, ironically, the kind of things that you don't really learn in school.
Yeah.
If I think about it, I didn't really sort of everything I've learned is really stuff that I've read or studied or learned on my own or then through experience. So the first hard thing was communication. So everything actually is about communication. The people who are successful in this world, in anything really, they tend to be good at communicating. They are good with people. And that means that they have good relationships. They know the right people. They are able to get what they want and what they need. And they are able to work with the various people they need to work with. So that's really important. So communication skills are very important, and that's what I don't really have. Well, I have a very unique set of communication skills, I would say.
Yeah. And
they don't work for a lot of people, and that has been a really big challenge because I also don't want to do it. So that's another problem. So I don't really, at the end of the day, I just want to do my thing and then have all the other things work and other people do them, but I don't want to deal with that. But I have had to deal with that. You see?
I got you.
Yeah. So that's been a big challenge. Communication and working with people. Okay, so that's one. And then the second thing has been that when you start a company, normally, even if you get funding or you have the money you need to start, every company, this is even a very successful one, typically, what happens is after you start, then you need more money to really make it work and go to the next level. Because what you have to do is you need to hire people, you need to invest in creating products, and then boom, then you're good. Maybe you don't even need more investment after that. Maybe you're good. You can just work on the revenue from the company itself. But typically when you start, you have to start somewhere. And after you've started, even if it's successful, it still needs more investment so that you can then establish it.
Yeah.
So that never really happened. Okay. I had a good start, but then I never got to the point or the situation where I'm like, okay, so now over the next 2 years, I need to make these 3 cars and hire these 4 people or 2 people or 3 people or whatever, and then we'll be good. So I was never really able to do that. So yes, it was okay. Some years were better than others, but I was never able to sort of really establish myself. Like, I have the full line of off-road cars. We have 4 or 5 staff, and we can manage everything.
Okay.
I was never able to do that.
I got you. So what made you transition from JQ Products to JQ Racing?
Okay, so that was actually a very it was great timing, really, on our part. So we decided to do that because we were trying to, well, we are actually still sort of on that same road. So we were trying to change how we did the business to make it so that racing was the focus and that JQ Racing would be a bit like a team. So we would have our own car brand, but then all the other stuff that we use on the team, we would sell in a web shop. And then we would also have more direct sales so that we could build up markets that we weren't very good in, like, for example, America. where we had tried different distributors, importers, but the problem is that they didn't really create demand. They just fulfilled it. So if there was demand for the product, they would sell. But if there was no demand, they didn't do anything to grow the demand. You know, they didn't promote or do anything really.
Okay.
So by doing it ourselves, we would be in charge of that. So we could start building up a presence at different tracks, different regions. And that's basically how we built our presence in America. And then at some point, BHRC got interested in that and we transferred over to them. But we built up the American market on our own. And I even drove across America in the JQ van a couple of times. And there were a bunch of different things that we've done in America, and Lefty's done a huge job to talk to all the different people, find the reps that some of whom we still have on board today. And he sort of fully took over that side of things from me initially doing it.
Okay.
So
yeah,
the JQ racing thing was sort of changing it more to a racing focus with a racing team idea of we all run this and endorse the same products. We also sell them online, and we are also able to sell direct in the markets where we don't have a strong sort of dealer presence. So it was a suitable time. I say that because right about the time when we launched the website is when a number of our sort of good customers sort of stopped ordering, you know, because the sales weren't good anymore for them and various other things, you know. So the timing was really, I mean, it was crazy how good the timing was. Like if we hadn't invested all that time and effort into building the web shop and creating all of this, I think we might have actually had to call it quits.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm serious. Like it's crazy to look back. Like, wow, we actually saved ourselves by thinking ahead and doing that.
Yeah. But see, that lets you know that this is what you was what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? When stuff happens in a way that it's kind of hard to explain or whatever, that just for let you know that this is kind of the road that you really, you know, supposed to be on, supposed to be doing, kind of, you know. So, but yeah, okay. With that being said, so as you being the CEO of JQ Racing, what were some of the difficulties by being the CEO of JQ Racing? You know what I'm saying? What was the challenges doing that you faced?
Well, the hardest thing for me has been that I have to do so many different things, or I have to be responsible for so many different things that there's not really enough time or mental capacity to do everything properly, and especially not to do everything as well as I'd like to do it. Yeah. So there's this constant sort of frustration of being a jack of all trades but a master of none, where I'm not doing anything to the best of my ability, and that sort of frustrates me a bit. So I'm not designing products to the best of my ability. I'm not marketing, promoting them, making videos, racing.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any single thing to a level that satisfies me personally. So that has been very frustrating. Maybe I would say that's been the hardest thing over the years.
Yeah, is that because you, like you said, you gotta juggle to do so many things, you know what I'm saying, to keep other stuff going, and you know, have your hand in this situation, this project or that project, so you can't really focus in and do the things
I mean, I guess you could, if I would have wanted to grow the company more and be in a position where maybe I can do less or focus more on what I want to do, maybe it could have been possible by starting to make, you know, toy cars and basher level stuff, and sort of branch out to that, because that's where more of the money is. But I'm not really interested in doing that. I want to create a racing brand that's only racing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never wanted to do that. So we're in a small market, and I'm like in a really small segment of that market. So yeah, it's harder
Yeah.
this way, but I think it's possible. So
I got you. Okay. With that being said, bro, how did you develop your tough skin to deal with all the criticism and all the negative? How you developed that? How do JQ sleep at night? You know what I'm saying? Knowing
uh,
that you got haters that's trying to trying to shoot at you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So how did you develop that tough skin to deal with those situations?
yeah, so I honestly I really don't care. It a lot of the time it makes me actually laugh out loud, and it's sort of I enjoy it almost.
Yeah, I'm saying.
And it motivates me, so it's good.
Yeah.
But I think there's actually one story from my childhood that I still remember. So maybe this is like the source of it. So it was when I was maybe like 7 or 8. So we start school at 7. That's first grade. So I
Okay.
must have been like in the first or second grade. So I was one of the youngest in the school. And then some older boy had like made fun of me and ridiculed me because of my hat. It was winter, I think, so I was wearing a hat. So then he had called me like raghead like if I translate to
I got
English or something like that, and just sort of made fun of me. So when I went home, I remember I told my dad about it or something, like I was all sad, and he what he said was actually, well, it does kind of look like a rag. Like he didn't
he said he was
didn't
right.
really like
He was
oh,
right.
I'm so he didn't comfort me or anything. He just basically said he sort of not really mocked me the same way as that boy, but he was kind of saying like, well, it kind of is a rat. Like, get over it. It doesn't really matter. It's not a big deal. Like, who cares what that guy says, Yeah. And actually, he's kind of right, So I don't know. So I remember that from my childhood. So maybe that has something to do with it. Because clearly back then I cared. So I don't know.
Okay, I understand that. Okay, as far as you being the CEO, JQ Racing, have you ever experienced any injustice or racism in your life, or either in RC? Have you experienced anything like that?
Well, so for me personally, I'm in a sort of unique situation in many ways because I grew up in Finland, which is, well, increasingly diverse, I think. But going back to when I was young, and especially when my parents were young, it was very sort of, what's the word? Only white Finns, basically, here.
Okay, so ain't no black people in Finland. Ain't no black people in Finland.
Well, my dad is mixed, so he's mixed. Like he looks like Obama, basically.
Okay.
So when he moved to Finland, like in the 70s or something, children would follow him in the street, like, oh look, what's that? So it was like that level, kind of.
That's crazy.
Wow, that's weird, So, but for me, so my dad's mixed, so he's categorized as black, and my mom is white, but I pass for white. So yeah, I mean, you can tell that there's something wrong with that guy, like something wrong with that white guy. Like he looks a bit weird if you look closely.
Yeah.
But then mostly I just sort of pass for whatever. It's actually, I can travel to a lot of places in the world and people just assume that I'm local. So that's actually a benefit of my complexion or situation. But because of that, I think I notice these things, or I acknowledge sort of racism and racial differences and these things because it's been a part of my life, because my dad is black and my mom is white and I am mixed, but I pass for white. So the way people act and how they talk and the things they say, I see white people when there's only white people around, or they assume that. And then when there's also a person of color there, So growing up, I've always seen that. So I see all the people who are not at all racist be racist because they think we're all white guys here now,
Okay, I got
So, that's something that I think you, for example, wouldn't experience, because as soon as you enter the room, it's like, oh, well, certain things are off limits now, because you're there, But for me, that's not the case, because people tend to look at me like, oh, I'm just a white guy.
Yeah.
So those kind of things, of course, yes, those kind of things I have experienced in RC also, and at RC races, and people are saying stuff and that kind of stuff. Like, that's normal. But what I haven't experienced really myself is that stuff being directed at me,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. So have you and Elliot Boots have y'all
I haven't
y'all
actually
made up yet? Y'all made up yet?
We haven't met since then, because COVID, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that was during COVID, that video. So yeah, I haven't met him. I don't have a problem with him. I think he might, but yeah.
I got you. I understand.
I actually rewatched. It was my last Facebook Live. I rewatched it because I sort of wasn't sure if I communicated that well enough, and I rewatched it, and I think it was okay. Like, the message comes across. So for anyone watching this, go watch my last ever Facebook Live. I don't have my Facebook anymore, so it's on YouTube. 94 or 95 or something.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we answer the question, is Elliot Boots racist?
Yeah. He had made some comments about something, and you had said your opinion on it, and it kind of blew up as it was a clash, or a conflict. But like you say, hey, we just tell it like it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's hard for people to put themselves in someone else's shoes. So we only have our own lived experience, really. So we think about the world and everything we experienced based on that. So people tend to think like, I was able to do this, then someone else should be too. I was able to make this decision, so someone else should be able to do that too. So it's very hard for us to put ourselves in someone else's shoes who has had an opposite upbringing and life in every single way.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't. Yeah, it's just because of that. A lot of problems, I think, stem from that. We only see the world and think about things in our own mind. Right. Knowing everything we know, having the experiences we've had, that's how we see the world and think about things. Where if we want to understand the world, we would have to think about the world through someone else's viewpoint and perspective, Yeah. So I think that's something that a lot of people can't do, or don't want to do, don't care to do.
I got you, bro. So how did you and Keenan meet? How did that relationship started?
Oh, by the way, since we brought up Keenan, I saw a bit of your interview with Keenan. Is he on here? He seems to have this. He seems to have this thing where he misremembers in a beneficial way to himself. So, for example, you asked how the name came about, the No Name RC podcast. He didn't even want that name. He thought it was stupid first, because he wanted the down and quiet or some RC term or something, like everyone has that. Yeah. And then I think he actually said something about no name. And then I said, hey, that's it. Let's just make it the No Name RC podcast. Yeah. And I remember at first he was like pushing back on it, like, oh, we can't do that. But then it stuck, and it was good. So it wasn't like he just came up with it and that's it. No. And one more thing. He said that he wanted to do lies. No, he's on here now. He said he wanted to do a podcast. That's not true. So I wanted to do a podcast for RC, like Pulp MX show, right? And we even started one with another guy, but he only did like 2 episodes, I think. And then looked at Lefty and like, fuck, like Lefty could do a podcast, right?
Yeah.
It took 6 months for me to get that idiot to do the podcast. Basically.
Keenan. What? No,
yes.
Keenan.
Yeah, he was crying like he can't do it and this and that. And I had to convince him. And we had many arguments about this. And finally he started doing it. So it wasn't like he had the idea and he just, no. It was a major source of frustration for months to get this.
Look what he said.
To do it. Okay, see, that's true.
Much as he liked to talk, he didn't want to do the podcast.
Yeah, but he's a natural. He's really good at that.
Yeah, he got it down pat now. He's want to kind of inspire me to step out and just do. You know what I'm saying? Just try it and just see how it goes. You know what I'm saying? But okay. So after you met Keenan and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How we met. So it was. I was actually invited. There was this race in the Dominican Republic. I was invited to go there, and I did. And back then, I had this thing that when I traveled somewhere, I'd have a second car to basically not really rent out to someone, just lend someone. Like, hey, you want to race this? So then for this race, Lefty actually raced it. And then we retired the car after that. So he raced it. So that's how I met him. So at that race, there was this one-armed gimp guy who I gave a car to race. That's how we met.
Okay. This is what he said, man. It's like 4 years ago.
4 years ago, he says, it happened. And then...
So is Keenan gonna go ahead and have his surgery so he can get his arm better? I believe he can if he did.
Yeah, we should do it. We should have a fundraiser for him.
I think he's scared just to have the surgery. I think that's really what it is. What you think?
Yeah, 2022. The new Keenan.
The new Keenan.
Yeah, so we have a Mayako production model and Keenan gets a left arm.
That's it. Prototype.
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, man. Okay, so what? You met Keenan and everything. So what made the light turn on in your head, man, when you decided to go ahead on and design the Black Edition buggy? What was your thought process? You know.
Well, that was back in, was it 2016?
Yeah. What was the process of the hard work, you know what I'm saying, towards the support and everything, the setups and all that, towards the Black Edition buggy?
So there were like 2 things going on, actually. So I designed a completely new car also. But I had already at this point started thinking that I want to do this differently. Like, I need to find someone who wants to buy not necessarily JQ Racing as a brand, because the idea was never to make JQ Racing sort of so personal to me.
Yeah.
Like there was this engine brand which was RB Concepts. Now RB Concepts actually stands for Rodi and Birgit, I think. So it was a husband and wife.
Yeah.
And their names. But no one really thinks about that. It's just RB. Or there are some others, I'm sure, that I can't think of right now, where it's like a person, but people don't really see it as a person. So when we started, it was me and one of my friends who started JQ Products then in 2009. And we named it JQ Products because we were worried that it would just become another brand that no one cares about or knows about. And then we were thinking, like, if we tell our story, and my story that I'm just this racer who made his own car, then maybe we have a chance. Like, maybe people would care. That's why we called it JQ Products. Like, we had no idea that we would sort of somehow be so good at promoting and branding it, like everyone would know suddenly, like I had my own car. Like we just didn't know. So we should have called it something else.
Yeah.
Actually, to distance it from me when needed. But how the hell would we know that it would be so closely linked to me? So anyway, since it was so closely linked to me, I knew that I could never really sell JQ Racing as a brand because I am JQ. Like, how the hell do I?
Yeah.
People aren't going to see it as something else, you know? So I thought I need to sell the next new car instead and then change it to something. So I was already thinking this in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So I had already designed a new car. But when nothing happened, I had to update the current car. So then that's how the Black Edition happened. So I took sort of what I learned. I knew, okay, we need to raise the diffs. There were some other things that needed changing on the chassis and wheelbase and stuff. So I just made all those changes.
Yeah.
Then made sure that we have a very good basic setup and good advice for people who want certain things from their cars.
Yeah.
And that's what we came out with. So I wanted to be sure that someone builds the car with the stock setup, they go to the track and they're happy. Like it's easy to drive.
Yeah.
And that's it. So that's then what actually happened. And then we released the Black Edition.
Cool. So honestly, why do you think the Black Edition buggy isn't more popular? With it being really a good buggy, why do you think it's not as popular as it should be? You know what I'm saying?
It's purely because we don't have a top or a few top guys running it. So it doesn't sort of have that credibility that many other cars have. So if it was one that, you know, was winning some of the big races or always in the mains, thanks to a professional driver, then I think more people would run it. Because it's not a case that the car isn't good enough. People who get it, they build it, they run it. You know, they tend to be more so than not. They tend to be positively surprised, and they're happy with how it handles and drives. So it's not really that. It's more so the credibility, the lack of credibility, because no top guy really is running it.
So what were some of the top drivers that did drive it? You know, I know you said a couple of guys drove the buggy. Do you remember the guys that did try it out and was really pleased with it? You know.
You mean like just trying it or testing it?
Yeah, just testing it and driving it. I know some of the top guys really, they did test it. Some of them tested. I think Cavalier drove it, right? You let him drive it, right? And
yeah, he's driven. Yeah, he liked it. He said it drives like how a car is supposed to drive.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Back when he tried it, a number of guys have tried it. The thing that I sort of look for more is if someone runs it sort of a couple of tanks, if they can match the lap time with their car, then that's good, you know. So I've had situations with two top guys where I'm sort of about a second off their lap time, and they drove my car and they were able to match their lap time. So basically about a second faster than I was able to go myself, just purely because they drove it better, you know. So that's just driving the car as is with my setup. So that's always good to see, because then you get the feeling like, okay, so I am actually the limiting factor here, not the car. The car can do more than me, you know. So yeah.
Okay. So far as driving, for like the guys that's thinking about getting into racing, even for some more seasoned racers, how important is really to you to focus on your driving rather than your setup? You know, when is it time to really focus in on your driving skills rather than thinking that you got to change a whole lot of stuff on your buggy, you know?
Well, I think there's two sides to this. So I think people tend to focus too much on setup in the wrong way and too little on setup in the right way. and then not at all on their driving.
Mm-hmm.
So let me explain that. So how they focus on setup the wrong way is they want to change their setup so that it's somehow better for them, like faster, or basically they want to change their setup in some way to go faster.
Right.
Let's put it that way, right? So what's Mayfield running today? What's Drake running? What's this? What's that? What's this new part? How can I go faster? Like, that's how they think about setup. Okay, so that's big mistake. Everyone should forget about that right now. Then the way they don't focus on setup, which they actually should, is how to do everything correctly and precisely and maintain their cars well. Normally, what needs to be done when someone comes to me and they have an issue is, can I swear?
Yeah, go ahead.
So normally, all I need to do is unfuck their cars. That's the term I like to use.
Yeah.
Because it's so messed up. So I just need to go like, okay, so why are you running maple syrup in your shocks? Why not just some shock oil that means that the suspension can move? Like, what are you thinking here? Why don't you feel this guy's car? He's doing well. Feel the suspension. Yeah, that's how it should feel. Okay, now let's replicate that here. So typically people's suspension is all bound up and shock oil is way too thick, and they've experimented with some weird spring that no one's ever heard of, and they're doing all these weird things on their car. Like, hey, let's back it down. Let's go back to basics. Standard setup. Make sure everything's free. Drivetrain spins. Shock oil is correct.
Right.
Compared to the temperature, and you're running basically just standard setup. Cambers are set. Ride height, down travel. All those small things are just done correctly. That's it. Mostly cars improve a ton once I just do that, just the basic stuff. That's really what people should focus on. Just the normal maintenance and the basic settings of their car. And that already will be a big help. And then the third thing that most people don't even consider their actual driving. So how do they drive the car? Normally, if you watch the sort of lower heats, everyone is going way too fast into corners, blowing the corner completely, going super wide. Lefty could go and lay down in a hairpin and no one would hit him because they would be going so wide.
Right.
So people need to sort of slow down and think a bit like, okay, so what's the actual line I should try to follow around the track? Okay, so I'm going to try and hit this line and drive around the track following, that racing line. Okay, so where do I actually brake? I'm going to try and brake in the same place every time. How hard do I brake? Like, do I just slam on the brakes 100%, or do I sort of ease into it about halfway, or do I ease into it all the way? When I get on the throttle, where do I get on the throttle? Do I sort of make sure I'm straight first? How quickly do I pull the trigger? Like, these sorts of thoughts never seem to really enter people's minds. They just go full throttle. Oh, there's a corner. I missed the corner. I better turn. And then they're super wide. Then just, okay, I need to accelerate. Full throttle. Like, more thought needs to go into how do you drive a car. That's what I tend to. I make the example really like, okay, so if I'm sitting in the pits, like, and we have a patient zero, a guy that's driving like this, then okay, so you drive a real car. So now if we go to the gas station, are you going to drive like this? So when we leave, you're just going to go like stamp on the throttle and you turn the wheel like that when we drive in, and then you brake like, no, you're going to be smooth. So do the same thing with RC car. Pretend it's a real car and do the same thing. Like, you don't turn the wheel like that, and then press on the brakes like that. Be smooth with your inputs.
So I think that how do you judge like your brake points? Like when you come up on the turn, is it just how do you judge how far you go into turn? Like, how do you judge before you come up to the turn when you start braking? You know what I'm saying? And then, turning. Is it, are you thinking about that, like doing your practice, or like if you're doing, just say you go into a track and you just practice it, like before a race, you go out, feel how the track is, how it flows. Are you trying to figure that out then, or are you more trying to just get used to the track? Or how do you go about doing that? Do you, like I said, do you go about it far as like, how do you figure out how far you can go into a turn before you come up on the turn, before you come up on the apex of the turn, or how do you judge
I
it?
think that braking, I think, is something that I'm not that good at, really. Sort of being super consistent and really staying on throttle and then getting on brake. I tend to maybe coast a bit too much, or then I tend to also enter corners a bit too fast, so I can sort of blow the corner a bit.
Yeah.
But sometimes sort of it depends on the situation. Sometimes it's somehow sort of just natural that I don't really even think about it. It just sort of happens, like for whatever reason, coordination, something. It's just naturally I just brake at the right place. Sometimes it's sort of hard, and maybe like this one track in Finland, for example. So at the back there's a long back straight and then a 90-degree corner. So you kind of have to brake.
Mm-hmm.
And it also starts going uphill right at the end. So you kind of want to brake right there where it starts going uphill. And then there's actually a tree behind the track right there. So I literally start braking when I pass the tree.
Yeah.
So you can find a marker like that also. Or on the infield, there's a different section and a different marker that I can use. Like when I see that, okay, right there at that point, then I brake.
Okay.
So sometimes you can see a visual cue to when you should brake.
Yeah. Cool. I got you. I remember that myself. But yeah, man. So, okay, you made the black edition, and like you say, it's a good car. You see, it's a good car. So what reason did you decide to discontinue the JQ Racing car brand?
Well, yeah. So the main reason was that I knew sort of what's possible, and what was possible wasn't really enough for what I wanted to do. And well, there are many reasons, but main reasons being that there are too many brands that for the amount of customers, and I don't want to do anything else than just racing. I don't want to do all the different cars. I just want to do this, like Nitro Off-Road, and make it work with that. So I knew that I need to find a different way to do it, and also I need to be in a situation where I can focus more on my strengths and have other people do other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought the best way to achieve this was to find someone to work with, find a company to work with. So as I said, actually, I started thinking about this in 2016, and then 2018 it sort of almost happened, but didn't. And then I think, where are we now? I think it was sort of during 2019 that this Mayako thing came about, and then figured all that stuff out, and I sort of knew what was going to happen then. And then all of 2020 I already knew, and I was already working on this new project. So not having a car as a JQ racing buggy was never really an issue for me, because I would actually rather be in a situation where JQ Racing is a team running a car brand, because it gives you more freedoms to do different things. And then I would also rather just sort of take care of the design and sort of marketing and branding of that car and not worry about anything else.
Okay.
So this is really a situation where I'm able to do that. So I had a new car already for a while, but I wasn't going to release it as a JQ, so I just kept on running the Black Edition. And now that sort of new car is going to be the Mayako buggy. And JQ Racing, there's a bit of a transition period because there are still JQ cars, but eventually in the future, when that's not a thing anymore, it's just going to be an RCGP racing team that runs the Mayako buggy and a web shop and sort of other team drivers thanks to that web shop and all the other stuff I do, Invisible Speed, the book, and there are also some Invisible Speed sort of events planned. And I'm working also on a sort of full, complete online course for RC racing, which is not just the book contents about setup in video form, but sort of everything from discovering RC racing to sort of racing at the highest levels. So I think that JQ Racing will sort of be, in a way, JQ Racing can be seen as a racing team and media company, content creator sort of situation. So it's one more way to try to expose our hobby and sport to more people and in different ways.
Okay, but when you against a new brand, another car brand, when wasn't you against that?
Yeah, but this isn't really, because it's not adding, it's just replacing one,
Yeah.
So one goes away and gets replaced by another.
Okay. So with that being said, okay. Just say, so if Mugen, Kyosho, or TLR had an opening on their teams for a designer, would you be interested in that if an opportunity like that came?
TLR needs one.
You already got one cease and desist.
I did get one already. So, I mean, yeah, actually, it would be cool to design for another company. I think that since Mayako is 8 scale now, I would enjoy designing some 10 scale cars for someone. So that would be something nice. So a 10 scale 2-wheel and 4-wheel drive for someone. Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. Like I said, I titled this podcast JQ, the past, present, and future. So that was just, saying some of the past stuff. So now for the present, which you with Miyako now. So my question is Miyako, is that really a real company, or is it a JQ creation? I asked that because of, okay, you in JQ Racing, we had the first, the 100 Club that got all the prototype parts and new releases and stuff like that, right? And then you did that, but I guess it was hard for you to keep doing that, giving out the prototype parts and new release stuff and stuff like that, because of you just doing too much other stuff that you can't really be consistent with it. And so with Miyako, with the membership club on Miyako, it's basically kind of the same concept. If you become a member, you got to pay your fee. And with like the first 100, you had to pay your fee to do that. With this Miyako thing, you got to pay your fee, and you get access to new parts, prototype parts, the new stuff that's coming out, new developing setups and stuff like that. So with Miyako, with the same setup as how you did the first 100, how do the consumer know that they're going to get the new stuff, the new setups, the new prototype parts, the new release stuff on a more consistent basis than they did with the first 100. That's why I asked: is it a true new company, or was it a JQ correction? Because it's just so similar. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to figure it out.
It's kind of both. So I would say that we could compare to RCGP in a way, because RCGP is actually a real company that David Isherwood owns and runs. But the thing is that it was my creation. So I wrote the rules and format and figured out the whole system, like how everything should work or could work. And I went to the races and like in the Philippines, and for the first race, set everything up, made sure everything was the right way, how we wanted, and went through the whole process of doing that first year. And now it exists, like even down to the detail of what's the overlay on the live timing, like the scoring and the pictures and this and that, like planning down to that sort of level of detail. So what the overall sort of video production would look like and all that stuff, right? From A to Z. But that's done now. And yeah, I'm still involved in sort of future plans and stuff, but I've moved on from that, right?
Right.
Here I had the idea for, I want to sell this car to another company that will then fund it, make it, and pay me as a designer. But I'm not willing to do it unless we do it differently to the current brands, because I also knew that even if it's some new brand, whatever, even if they pay a top driver, it's not going to do anything special. Look at HBS Works, all these other companies.
Yeah.
They aren't sort of super successful, really. If you only look at the 8 scale off-road racing, really seriously, like you need all that other stuff to make it work. But I wanted to have a way where you don't need all that other stuff to work. So I figured, look, instead of trying to sell something to everyone, let's find a specific audience and sell it to them instead, and take care of those people really well. So instead of having some program that's, for the people who are really interested, let's build that entire brand around that concept and idea. So that existence of the brand, it depends on a smaller group of passionate supporters and followers and fans and racers, right? The whole idea of the brand is that. And then normal customers who just buy the car for whatever reason and race it, they have great support and information available to them also. And maybe one day they would like to join as members, but they aren't necessarily required for the company to turn a profit and function. So by turning it around this way, then the focus is on the membership structure and the members. And so it's a whole different scenario to how JQ Racing was run. We took that one idea from JQ Racing, which was the 100, and the idea that would people actually be interested to be more involved. We took that and then we made it the sort of founding principle of a new brand. Where now this first year, all the people who are going to get the car are actually members. So they are already on the inside, so to speak.
Yeah.
So now the challenge for Mayako is to find the right people, hire the right people to run this company and brand and membership structure, so that all the people who join, also the people who speak different languages, not everyone speaks English, that they all feel that it's worthwhile. So yeah, if Mayako doesn't deliver, then it will go bankrupt and fail. So there's no sort of option for it. Either it works or it doesn't.
Right. So I was just saying that, man, it was just like, I'm coming from the side of being a member, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to know, are we actually going to get what we expect? You know what I'm saying? Just, if you say you're going to get early releases, this and that, we're going to get our money's worth, you know what I'm saying, in a timely fashion consistently, you know what I'm saying? So, that's, a lot of people be wanting to know the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to figure out with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. But yeah. So why was Miyako a hidden secret from us, the race team? Why was it such hush hush down low? At first, it was like everybody. Keenan, he was like he ain't know none of who this person, who this company
Keenan didn't know for a long time, actually, to be honest, because he has a podcast and he talks a lot. So yeah, for a long time.
So why is it a big secret? You know what I'm saying? Especially to the race. How you gonna do the race team?
So Scott Hughes once said a great thing. He said, "Loose lips sink ships." Yeah. So the problem is really, so if you are trying to do something new,
yeah,
and for it to work, you need to release it in a certain time period or in a certain order.
Yeah.
Then you can't tell people, because people will always tell someone, and they say, "Oh, don't tell anyone, but this is happening." Mm-hmm. You know, so that's the reason.
Okay, I get that. So what is Miyako like?
Well, I would describe it like this. So a difficulty in the RC racing side of the hobby is that racing is so small. So it's really hard to innovate and sort of progress. You can just look at, actually, I'm curious as to how they managed to do it in touring cars. I think it's probably because production costs are so low. Most of the innovation is sort of carbon fiber and
so that was
machining.
That was my next question. Like, what other projects have they done? What other projects have Miyako done, like in the RC industry? You know what I'm saying? So go ahead.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I would like to be involved in something in RC where the racing is more professional and consistent. So all the top guys racing each other for X amount of times a year. Okay. And you have a season, and then you can look at that season and be like, this was the best car. These were the best drivers. These were the trends over the year. Okay, now let's go into next year. And then the following year, you can see, okay, so now things have shifted a bit, you know. Now this car seems to be the best, and these drivers are doing the best. And, you know, now it's so hard because the top guys don't really race each other that much, and there's random races going on all over the place. There's no sort of consistency, really. I would like to live in a world where we have more consistent big events around the world, same drivers going, same teams going, and the teams really want to win those races, and they work throughout the year to improve their cars to win, and then for the next year they make bigger improvements again. So like in the real world of racing on motocross, MotoGP, Formula One, that's what they do. I would like to live in a world like that in RC also. Right now it's not like that. So we have cars, you know, basically the same for 4 years, and maybe then they make a change, but maybe they put some parts on that are basically the same as they had 8 years ago, you know. So it's not like that, really. It's not serious racing and serious development work because the money just isn't there. I think if you are one of the best drivers, you can make a good living just racing RC cars. And everyone says it's such hard work. It's not really. It's not really that hard, to be honest. The traveling is the hardest part, but none of the top racers that I know of truly work hard.
Right.
I mean, let's just be honest here. So, I mean, if you yes, you prepare your cars, you go to a race for 4 days, then you go home and you don't do anything for 5 days, or maybe you rebuild your cars for the next race or something that's not really working super hard.
Yeah.
It makes it sort of feel hard because you're traveling and that sort of gets stressful. But grand scheme of things, they could work a lot harder. Like if there was more money involved in RC, there would be this new crop of young drivers coming in, and they'd be sort of 100% focused on RC, and they would work so much harder, they'd win everything, and all these old farts wouldn't be anything anymore, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
But
yeah,
so anyway, so everything in RC is the way it is because it's not big enough. There's not enough money, so it's not worth doing more. So being in this situation, the goal with Mayako is to run a brand and a company in a way where that's possible, even in this market, to be a bit more professional. So to have more of a professional presence and race team, and then sort of every year develop the racing program. So not only the car itself, but the whole package that is run, servos, engines, setups, tires, everything, and provide that information for the people who are running Mayako cars and make it easily accessible for them. So no matter what track, what condition someone with a Mayako goes to, they have a lot of good information ready for them. Do exactly these things, or if you want this, do exactly that. And everything's very straightforward and easily accessible and laid out and thought about. Like, okay, we need an app. Okay, let's develop an app for that. Let's do this, do that. Like, focus on a smaller group of people, the people who are into RC racing because they love it, they are active racers, and they like the sort of development and wrenching and setup and all that stuff. And they want to improve as racers. Focus on that group and then make everything as good as possible for them, while also at the same time having a professional race team trying to push the envelope when it comes to professional RC car racing, and presenting that also to new people and outside of the industry, sort of working closely with a series like RCGP, for example. So that's really the idea of the Mayako project.
Okay, so what's your opinion on when to have loyalty and then when to know when it's time to change or switch up or redo whatever? When is it to be? Yeah,
I think that I think Ronne Falk is a good example of that, actually. So Ronne Falk was 17 or 18, I think, and he had already won a European Championship or two. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And so he was sort of basically professional driver. He was done with school. It's like, okay, so this can be my career now. I can race RC cars professionally. And he had been with Kyosho from basically when he started until then.
Yeah.
And then he had a bunch of offers. Kyosho didn't offer him a good enough deal. HB offered him a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
He probably even negotiated with Kyosho, like, hey, this is what I'm getting somewhere else, and they weren't able to match it or willing to match it. So he switched. I think that's a perfectly sort of reasonable situation. So you've already reached a point where you are at the top and you can be a professional racer, and you take the contract and the deal that will give you the best chance of realizing your goals as a professional racer.
Okay.
That's a good example. What tends to happen is much earlier than that, you start to be fast, and you've raced already for many years with some brand, for example. You begin to be fast. You start to be fast. Someone offers something and you just switch.
Yeah.
That's the wrong way to do it. Or another way is you start to be fast, but you maybe think that another car would be better, or you try another car, and at that track you felt better with it, and then you switch because of that, because you think that with that other car you'll do even better. Those are sort of the wrong reasons to switch. I think that if you are running a car brand and you're improving and you're starting to be competitive, stick with that. And if you aren't getting any kind of support, then maybe question that a bit. But usually you will get support, from any brand. If you are getting good enough to where you deserve it, then you'll get support. But people have this thing where they feel that they are entitled to support just because they win locally with some brand. Like, that doesn't really do shit for someone's sales. Seriously, like, why would you give someone a free anything, really, just because they win some races locally? It doesn't make any sense. Most people don't consider that it's free for them, but it's not free for the company, or a discount is less income for a company. So they need something in return for that. So they would have to sort of, thanks to them running a product, someone else would have to buy that same product. They would have to influence others, like truly influence their spending decisions. But not many people even consider that fact. They just think that, well, I'm fast and I think I should get sponsored.
So what do you think? Do you think your partner, your protege, Max Mort, in his decision to go to Associated, was that a loyal situation, or was that more of him?
I mean,
new?
I would say that if he had goals in RC to progress and do well, then it was the wrong decision. If he just had goals sort of to just play around and focus on other things in life and just do RC as a hobby sometimes, then maybe it was the right decision because he wanted to try something different. It's like if you lose your virginity to a girl and then 10 years later, that's the only girl you've ever been with, then sure, yes, you'll start thinking, well, I wonder what a tall girl is like, or a redhead, or a black girl, or a white girl, or whatever your situation, right? You're going to start wondering, like, what are all these other girls like? Like, what about the big boobs or fake boobs, or, you will wonder. So that's how I would look at that, because he had only ever run a JQ car. That's all he knew, right?
Yeah. So he was curious.
So then at some point he would surely want to try something different too. But if I'm thinking about, like, if he actually wants to make it in RC on any kind of level, then it would have made much more sense to stick around, because this would have been an opportunity to do that. So man. So change gears a little bit. So did Miyako choose you? Did they come to you, wanted you to be their designer, or was it more you going to them? Sort of more me sort of willing it into existence, really, because it's sort of a number of people and companies coming together to do it, and I had to sell the idea really to them and convince them that this is worth doing and the right thing to do in this day and age, and that it would actually work, and show them that, like, even with conservative numbers of sales and members and stuff, that it makes sense, and show a bit of a long-term goal of a realistic plan of where Mayako would be in 3 years' time. So,
okay, cool. So when you go and decide to design a new car, like the Miyako car, what's your mindset? Is it a checklist you go by when you're designing it, or how do you formulate what you're going to do to improve on this new car than the old car?
Well, this this situation was a bit different, because it's an all new car, but it builds on everything that I've learned in the past also, and all my experience. So because it's a new brand and a new platform, then there was one requirement which I sort of had to abide by, which was that I wasn't allowed I wasn't allowed to do anything which I wasn't sure would work. So what I mean by that is I wasn't allowed to put something on the car, like a feature or geometry or stuff, that I couldn't guarantee works for everyone everywhere. So maybe I have some ideas, but I'm not 100% sure that will this actually be good or work better. Or I know that it works in this condition, but I haven't tried it in all conditions. Or I know that it works for this driving style, but not that necessarily. So I had to be sure that everything on this car will work awesome. So make a new car, yet you have to make sure that you fulfill that demand. That was the situation I was in. So I think I've achieved that, because when you look at the car, yes, you look at it and it's like it's very similar to others, yet there are some details which are sort of innovative and different and open up new possibilities in adjustment. And thanks to that, the handling of the car also. But what I'm more interested in is the next few years, because now this is a very good base and as a platform to start on. And then from this, we can try those sort of more innovative ideas, and then find out also, thanks to all the members, do they actually work, and which direction do we actually want to go with for the next designs. Because I want it to become a situation where the car is sort of arguably, or maybe even sort of undisputably, the best. So people look at it like, well, you know what? All these cars are good, but the Mayako is actually the best car right now. I want to be in that position one day. That's my goal, personal goal. And to be able to do that, the car has to be, by definition, different. It can't be the best if it's too similar to all the other cars. So I want to figure out something that is different to the other cars and better. And then when you combine maybe a number of small things that are better, the performance advantage can be big enough where people will realize, like, okay, they're onto something here. So that's where I want to end up. But for the first car, I know for sure that anyone that gets it will be happy and satisfied, because the car is it's very capable and good to serve the needs of any level driver, beginner, top racer, talented driver, not very good driver, lefty. Whoever drives it, they can make the car good for them.
I got you. Okay. Well, we finna do something a little different right here, man. We just gonna do like a comparison, like between Black Edition and Miyako Buggy. So I'm just gonna name out some different features, like the steering. Okay, how's the steering different compared to the Black Edition on the Miyako?
So it's possible to make the Miyako initially a lot smoother. So it has less initial steering, where it's more stable, and you don't have to be as precise with the steering wheel, yet then you still have the steering in tight sections of the track. So when you want to go straight, you feel very confident that the car just goes straight, and you don't have to sort of correct or be afraid to touch the wheel. So
okay, far as the speed of the car is the versus the Black Edition, the speed of the car of the Black Edition versus the speed of the car of the Miyako, which one do you think is faster?
I think that the Black Edition is more responsive. So if you drive it very sort of calm and slow, you can do a fast lap, right? If you do the same thing with the Miyako, maybe you'll be a bit slower. But because the Miyako is so comfortable to drive, you can drive it faster, you don't need to drive it all punched and crazy. What I mean is that you just sort of, you can go faster. It allows you to go faster. So you drive it a bit faster. And when you are used to it, and because it's so much more forgiving, you will go faster. So for me personally, I tend to be, unless not, the difference isn't so big on a slippery, like loose, sort of lower speed track where the Black Edition shines, in my opinion. But on any fast track, difficult track, higher grip track, I tend to be between half a second. Yeah, I'd say like half a second faster with the Mayako than the Black Edition.
Okay.
So I'm able to, after I've already sort of maxed out, this is as fast as I can go, I'm able to still find another half a second.
Okay.
With the Mayako.
Okay. Okay. Far as the shocks and the shock springs, which is better in your opinion on the shock springs between the Black Edition and the Miyako buggy?
Well, we have new progressive springs that are coming out actually now for the JQ already, but we are then going to use the same ones on the Miyako also. So the progressive springs are initially really soft and then they get harder, and they work very well on loose to medium traction tracks. They just add more grip to the car, but on then high grip you would use a normal spring. And so the Mayako will have a full range of normal springs and progressive springs. So there won't be any need to run like another manufacturer's spring. I think we'll be covered on springs. Okay. And for the shocks will actually be the same as on the JQ car, except that the surface finish will be different.
Okay. I got what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't actually have them yet, so I've just been running the JQ shocks so far.
Okay. Far as dremeling, are we gonna have the Dremel on the?
Yeah. So I was sort of.
Are we gonna have the Dremel on the?
I was both happy and disappointed when I discovered a place where I could Dremel. So it was my second trip to Spain, when I was running the upper arm, and we are able to move the lower arm on the front forwards and backwards. And I noticed that when I moved it all the way back, I needed to Dremel 1 mil off the upper arm. So I was kind of secretly happy because I was able to bust out the Dremel and do some Dremel work. But then at the same time, I was disappointed that how did I not manage to design a car where I could use all the setup options without having to Dremel something. So it's not something that you actually have to do, but I just realized that, yeah, it's actually better if I do this when I run this particular setting. So I did find one thing that I was able to Dremel on the car.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Okay. As far as the braking system, how's the brakes?
So we have steel discs now, and these sort of metal pads with that special brake pad material on them.
Yeah. I had asked that question once before in the podcast. So yeah. Okay, cool. That's what's up, man. As far as getting your rear grip, is it easier to maintain your rear grip with the Miyako buggy compared to the Black Edition?
I think the Black Edition is pretty good on that, but I think the Mayako is better, but I think because of the front end, really. So the front end doesn't cause oversteer as much. So it just balances out the car a bit better. So yes, you can set the car up to be very numb, where it doesn't lose the rear end, it doesn't oversteer. It's just sort of easy to drive it around the track.
Okay. I'm gonna do some. I'm finna put up some clips of you running the Miyako buggy, and then after that we're gonna do some Q&A for some of the guys in the chat. So I'm about to put this clip up right here. Let's see here. Share this. Okay. This right here is you at the Spain track, and I think this one was you when you was at the what's it the cart the club cart.
Yeah, in Madrid.
Yeah, Madrid. This is the clip of that. So doing this, what's your mindset? Far as what was you trying to test doing this clip right here? What was your focus?
This was my first trip to Spain, so this was the first time I actually had the complete car.
Mm-hmm.
I had tested already extensively sort of a prototype chassis that was made where everything in the middle was the black edition, but then I could fit the new front end and new rear end onto it. So
Okay.
I had tried that already a lot. So, and then also I tried it with the black edition steering. And so here is the first time that I was then able to run the actual Mayako chassis and middle part and all of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
So during this trip, the idea was just to sort of run through all the different setup options and figure out sort of a basic starting point. So that was really the idea. And this track was good because it's high speed, but has tight sections also, and it has jumps, and it's really high grip, but then also after the rain, it rained the other day, then it was loose and loamy. So yeah, it was a really good trip.
Yeah, it looked like it's like I said, it looked like it's good and stable, and it looked like it was the track kind of loose. It looked like it was kind of loose. So
I can't actually tell which video this is. One I think I released was higher grip and one lower. So.
Okay, I think this was on the Catrell track club in Spain.
Yeah. So the first trip, actually, the car, it didn't really have enough steering. But now when I went back the second time, I was able to fix that. So I'm not worried about that. The steering, really.
Okay. Okay, this one right here is when you was at the Alba track in Spain. So what was your focus on this run right here? Hold on, let me get it. Sure. Okay, with this one right here, what was your main focus when you was running at this track?
This was the idea, was to go to a different track with the same setup and see how the car would work, and then also to go from high grip to a low grip track, because this was after rain, so it was really loose. And I wanted to see, okay, so how does the car work on a very different track, and how much do I need to change to make it comfortable or fast?
Yeah.
Because actually it was immediately comfortable. It was just a bit too slow. So then I had to change springs, roll bars. I think I changed toe in, pistons, and yeah, I was really happy. So this was then one of the runs I did.
So basically you turn on all your qualifying runs, you basically turn 8 laps around about the same time. So you're real consistent right here. I see.
Yeah, I did a full run, 5 minutes. So. Yeah, that's one thing actually throughout this trip, which was positive, was that I didn't make many mistakes. I didn't crash a lot. I didn't sort of need to keep on going and marshalling my car, and yet I wasn't sort of driving slow. Like I was still trying to do good 5-minute times and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just able to consistently sort of do it. Or if I did make a mistake, it wasn't something, terrible. So it's just like I missed my line or something like that, something smaller.
Okay, cool. Like I said, it still look good and consistent, man. And like I said, it still had a lot of rear grip and it looked stable. And like I said, it don't seem like you really have to push the bucket that hard to get a good lap time. You know what I'm saying? So you can still be.
So the difficulty or the challenge with developing a car is you want to make it so that the car is sort of neutral and balanced, where it doesn't sort of catch bumps or do anything surprising. Yet you want it to be so that when the driver wants it to turn quick, like I did there, or be responsive, that it does it. So that's the challenge. You want the car to be stable and neutral, yet the driver can do whatever he wants the car to do. It's sort of it's a difficult situation because you want the car to be two different things in a sense.
Okay.
Very calm and stable, yet also responsive and aggressive when needed. So the only way to achieve that really is to make a car that's to make a car that's initially neutral and calm, but then after that initial phase of whatever is happening, sort of turning, rolling, steering, after that initial point, then it in a balanced way increases that motion, so more steering or grip. So it's kind of hard to explain, but there's a difference between sort of overall grip or average grip and initial grip in any given situation. So you want that initial moment to be less aggressive and more neutral, unless the driver chooses to make it more aggressive. So that's a really hard balance to find.
Okay, cool, man. Like I said, the car definitely looks smooth and stable. So it seems like it's really gonna be a contender for real. So yeah, it looks good, man. It really does. So hey, if y'all want to ask some questions, we're gonna do a little Q&A right here. So y'all get them questions ready. Let's go. I'm gonna put the if anybody wanna ask Keenan if he want to jump in, if he's still in here, I'm gonna put the link in the description in the chat box. Y'all can click on this link and I can bring you in. And also still put your questions in the chat also. Okay. That's the link right there. So, but yeah, if anybody having a question, just go ahead and go and post your questions. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen, or if you want to jump in, hit the link. I'll pull you on in. Either way you want to do it. So here's a question from Send It RC. He says, JQ, what drivers you see deep thinkers? Yeah, he says,
what drives me?
Well, yeah, he says, what drives you? And I see you are a deep thinker, just like to know you why. Yeah, basically saying, yeah, he want to know what drives you, and you're deep thinking. He just want to know what's your just what your mindset be when you're thinking about doing situations or whatever.
Originally, the only thing really that motivated me was me wanting to do well in my own racing. And to some extent, that's still the case because I still do race, and I would still really like to do well with my car. So that's still a big part of it, but I don't really have a good answer for all the other stuff. So RCGP, for example, all the time and effort put into that. It's just because I can see how much better RC racing could be.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried to get the sort of people who I think could make that positive change. I've tried to get them to do it, but when that didn't happen, I figured like, well, let's just do it. Like, we can make a race series like this. Let's do it. So I don't really know why I wanted to do that or why I worked so hard to make that happen, because it surely wasn't financial. I haven't benefited financially from it. The opposite, really. And it's not like I want credit. It's really that I just want it to exist. And then I don't know. I just want that. I know that the racing could be so much better than now. It could be a lot more fun than now. Better racing formats. We could, as an industry, look better to the outside world. So I just try and sort of achieve that and do that. But why do I do that? I don't know. The only thing that I do know is my motivation to personally do well with my car. That's it.
Okay.
Because I'm competitive in that sense. But all the other stuff, I don't really have an explanation for. The Invisible Speed book was really like, it sucked to write. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of time and effort, a lot of hard work to write that book. And now I'm doing a full online course, which is fucking the second dumbest decision I've ever made. But I just, for some reason also, I just believe that if I do that, then no matter what happens, everything I've done won't be for nothing, sort of, because I would have taken all that I've learned and everything and put it towards something that can improve where we are today. So there's more information available for people to learn, and then they can build on that. So, okay, maybe this is it then. Something that frustrates me a lot is lack of progress. Or if not lack of progress, then even going backwards. And I made one YouTube video where I said that I would like to be a part of the solution.
Yeah.
And not be a part of the problem. And I think in the world that we live in, on many levels, if we are neutral or we don't care, then we are part of the problem. Because being neutral and not caring and sort of just existing, that benefits the problem, So whatever that problem is, it could be social, or it could have to do with an industry or a hobby or RC racing. Whatever that sort of issues are, the ways to solve them and to move forward is to take action. So I think that maybe a motivating factor there for me is just my frustration with lack of progress.
I got you. And RC was wanting to know, was the Miyako car, was it the Pilot, C-Hub, or pillow ball car?
So it's a C-Hub, but the pillow ball car, 95% of how the pillow ball car works is not because of the balls. It's because of the geometry. So I've figured out a way to create that geometry with a C-Hub. So the people who like how a pillow ball car drives, as far as the front end is concerned, they can get that with the Miyako also. We have two different C-Hubs that will be available. So one of them will be the sort of C-Hub style, or the JQ HB Kyosho style C hub, and then the other one will be like a pillow ball, like a Mugen associated S-Works, that type of front end, but it's still a C hub.
Okay, Mr. Lachilla wanted to know, do you remember running the Hongnor kit, and what major changes has happened with the kit settings since then?
That's not needed. I don't know about not needed. So I never ran Hongnor. I ran Hobao, but I know Hongnor. I've tried it, so I know kind of what it was. But I think the biggest things that have happened since then is the weight distribution has moved further forward on the cars. So the weight bias was more towards the rear in the past. Now it's further forward. And everything's sort of a bit smaller and lighter than then. The cars are naturally faster. They carry more corner speed. And yeah, they jump, land better. They're more nimble. They carry more corner speed.
Yeah.
The shocks were a big help, the bigger shocks. But really, if we think about it, then the sort of weight distribution is the second biggest thing that has happened. Otherwise, it's very similar, really, where we are today.
Okay. Gunpowder Nitro, he was asking, what engine brands do you run?
Well, I run Ultimate Racing, so they are made by OS. So basically, OS or anything made by OS. That's the way to go in this day and age.
Okay. JB wanted to know. He said he's super new to the racing game. How would Miyako support the new racer or a more casual racer at the grassroots level?
Well, there's two different ways. So one is through service centers. So service centers is an idea where there's a local presence, a local Miyako presence, increasingly throughout the world. And if this guy, for example, lives in a place with a Miyako service center, what that would mean is that there's someone knowledgeable about the Miyako car and brand who also has spare parts at hand at the track.
Yeah.
It's a place where you can go to unfuck your car, as we were talking about earlier, so help with just car maintenance, setup, parts, advice, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Pitting help, you need someone to tune your engine, you need help in the pits. That's that sort of help. So building a community of racers that support each other to make this hobby more fun for everyone, really. So share the knowledge and help people. That's the idea of the service centers. And then if you don't have a service center in your region, or even if you do, then the idea is to have really good, specific information available for the Miyako buggy online. So you can find that in the Discord server that we have, or then on Facebook or on the website that will be released in the future. So sharing sort of, instead of marketing and promoting stuff and saying this is the best ever, or some stupid gimmick part that doesn't make a difference, and claiming that it's the best thing ever, being truthful and honest and showing the real things that we do and how to do stuff, and having valuable information available to people. So that's really the way that's done.
Okay. Senator RC said it's a lighter car better than a heavier car, 1/8 scale.
A lighter car is always better. If a heavier car is better, then you're running the wrong setup. That's just, it's the laws of physics are the same, You can light a car, you can accelerate faster, corner faster. It will jump better. It will land better. It will do everything better if you have the right setup. If you have a heavy car that's awesome and then you make it light, it's going to be worse. You have to change the setup, change the springs, the roll bars, the roll centers, maybe tires you run. the clutch. You have to change so many things if you go from a heavy to a light car. But if you change them, and if you have a well set up light car or well set up heavy car, the light car will be better.
Okay. And Basil, what up, Keenan?
Oh, I'm here. What's up?
Going on? What's going on with you?
It's so different being on this end of the spectrum and not being in control of everything.
Yes, sir.
I got, Joseph, you lie. You didn't
lie.
Yes, you told a fib.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. But we'll get to that. What's up? What's up, Corey? Thanks for having me on. What's up, everybody?
Man, I'm glad you had time to jump
I've enjoyed this.
Man, yeah, I try to take a little different perspective on it than, all the other type of interviews and stuff. But, I hope it's good. I hope it's good.
Like I haven't heard this guy talk enough.
That's your partner, man.
I know. I can say pretty much what he's going to say per what he's going. I know what he's going to say. I didn't know about the hat story though, JQ. No. Never told me that. I got a picture of you with that hat.
Yes, sir. Yeah. But Basil right here, he was talking about, man, Basil is from, South Africa, y'all. Yeah, man. And I think JV, the guy you just answered, this guy right here, I think he's from overseas too. I can't remember. Cheers. I think JV, where you from? Pop up in the chat where you from, JV. But that's I know Basil, yeah.
I always thought it was Salty Joe if initials JV, but he's too busy working.
But yeah, Basil was saying, man, wanted to tell you thank you, bro, for all of you done already and going to do in the sport, and they love you, JQ, man. Thank you much and respect.
Thank you.
Someone does.
But yeah, Mr. Lil Chili wanted to know how important does like the track surfaces play in your car handling, so he just wanted to get a perspective on that. His question right here is that more a product of the track surface now as versus then being more hard packed and smoother versus a loamy track? So
I think even back then we had the same different track conditions back then also. So we had smooth hard pack tracks and we also had more loamy tracks.
Okay.
So we had all the different track conditions then also. So I think, the same applies still to what I said about the home nor versus now.
Yeah. Kenny Pope.
Whatever beer.
Whatever beer he be drinking. And,
I don't have a beer now, actually.
But yeah, okay, we got
JQ, you said that you got me to do the podcast. You came to me to do the podcast. That's not how it worked. I came to you, right? Because I know you're trying to do the podcast. You're trying to do it, that Swedish guy. You did like 2 episodes and it didn't work. And then I remember coming to you and saying, you know what? I think I want to do this. Because I was telling you, like, it ain't no real podcasts out there that were talking about RC around the world. That's how it happened. And then, yes, you did. We bought the equipment, and then you forced me. Like, when are you going to do it? You need to figure it out. And I was nervous about that, man. And even when I look back, we have an episode. Remember the first episode? We didn't even release it. I don't even know where it is. So
why didn't you release the first episode?
Because it made me, even the first episode we released is cringy. Like, I got echo. I had no idea what I was doing. Like, echo all over the place. But the content was pretty good. Yeah. And I came up with no name because we was all out drinking that night, and somebody came up with no flip-flops allowed. And like you and him were like, it's going to be called no flip-flops allowed. And I was like,
no. You wanted it to be down and quiet. All you had on your mind was RC terms.
I did want it to be.
I said no fucking RC terms.
Right. And then I came up, well, let's call it the No Name RC Podcast because we used to.
No, 100% you didn't say that.
I did
know
too.
that.
I did.
I
You was
think
drunk.
You actually said, "Well, okay, no name then. We'll just have no name." You said
Yeah.
that, and I said, "Yeah, the No Name RC podcast." And then you said, "Oh, we can't do that and bullshit," and you still want it done and quiet. Yes,
Your memory was.
this.
Your memory was.
I remember.
Was not. You know, your
That was
brain
another
wasn't
thing
working
that
properly because you had a lot of alcohol in your system.
You needed to see that it's actually good. You didn't believe that you could have a name as no name.
I don't think it went like that because you was on that no flip flops thing for a minute, and then I was like, well, in Bermuda,
like that.
No, because I remember how it said. I said, and we have no name because in Bermuda we had no name cookies and juices and gym shoes.
You made all of that up after the fact.
No, that's lies. I made it up that day. You guys were just drunk.
But yeah, Gunpowder said, man, does JQ have plans to come to Psycho Nitro Blast?
I mean, maybe one day. I've been there once.
You been before? You came to first time I saw you, JQ. I think I saw Keenan too. I think I saw Keenan was. I didn't really know y'all at all at this type. This is when I really first started racing. I think I saw Keenan. Both of y'all maybe it was at AMS, and then
it's probably Southern Nats. That's the only race.
Too.
Yeah. I've never been to PNB or AMS with this guy.
Okay, I thought Kenny, you went to AMS one year.
I did, but I went. He didn't go. I went, and that was probably the last time I actually raced.
Okay. Then I think JQ first time I saw you was one time, man. It's been a while, but you came to the Wicked Weekend, and I think you stayed with a guy named his son name is Jeremy Reed.
Yeah, John Reed.
Yeah,
that
John
was
Reed.
AMS.
Yeah.
Wasn't it AMS?
I think that was Wicked Weekend when you was in Gainesville, Georgia, when they had the covered track. It was a track was covered, but it was still outside, but it had a roof over the track.
AMS is completely enclosed.
Yeah, I think it was AMS.
Okay.
Because I haven't been to that one with just a roof. But that's where I stayed with the Reeds.
With the Reeds, yeah.
How the hell did that happen? I don't even know. I can't remember how that happened.
Who knows with you? He probably was like, hey, I need a place to stay.
Yeah,
does anybody have a place for me
real
to stay?
RC Gypsy. It was awesome.
I'll sleep on your dog's floor or something like that. In the doghouse or something.
I actually don't know how that happened.
But yeah, man. But yeah, JB was saying he's from the Philippines, but he stays in California right now. So he says he stays down the street on the track from
in QC.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they call that. What's the proper name for that?
QC. But yeah. And
City.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Something.
But yeah, Mr. Luchita was saying that it seemed like your design philosophy is similar to the KTM motocross, more natural, but can dive into the corners while keeping stable. It's working for KTM. Keep doing your thing, bro. So, what you think about that?
I don't know. KTM is actually different to the other cars. They have a steel chassis, so yeah, I am not a good enough rider to really know the difference between those things. But when it comes to cars, I think I'm good enough driver to. That's a thing about RC also, that you have to be good enough as a driver to be able to do the different things that a car does and feel it so that you can truly design it. So it's really hard to be a designer, I think, and really learn to understand the cars without being able to drive them to a high level. Just watching someone else, I don't know how I would have been able to figure everything out that I have. I really don't know. It's so different to watch versus actually do it yourself. But yeah, let's see. In the next 2 years, we'll know if I'm onto something or not.
Ken and Pope want to know, what do you think about the SH engines that the Gunny runs?
I think if he says that you can bolt an OS 21J on it, so probably if you did that, then I think they'd be good. And a good cheap engine.
Mm-hmm. RC want to know, Lefty, have you ever sent JQ a letter?
Cease and desist.
No, but I'm pretty sure that because of him, I'll be getting one soon too. Luckily, I have no money and nothing to take. So, and I don't live in America, so I can't be sued unless I come there. Probably not either. But I haven't said anything bad about TLR. JQ has.
We said, well, you know, hey, he was just telling the truth about it, man. So, but yeah, if y'all got any more questions, man, y'all put it in the chat. And but the question that I had for you and Keenan was, should the federations, man, if Roar or what's the other one? Hold on, I got a question.
Ephra.
Yeah, Ephra. Should they have where if a racer that has done good and that's been qualifying in the big races and the nationals and stuff like that, top 5, but they just have, for some reason, their sponsors not giving them no support to make it to the races. Should the federation, should they help out a racer that's in that situation where they've been doing good, they've been qualifying, everything, you know, they're basically right there at the top of the pro level, but they just can't get enough funding to make it to like a worlds or make it to like a bigger national race. Should the federations have some kind of maybe like a little stipend to help a racer out to get that, or to maybe you know, get over that hump to make it to the big races they need to get to be the best they can be?
JQ, you want to go first, or I'll go first?
You can go first.
I actually do not think it's the federation's job to do that. I would rather see the federations take that money and put it into maybe helping out some tracks that are part of the federation, or or getting them to put a championship race, like what you always say, Corey. You would like to have it in front of people, or have it somewhere we could grow our sport.
Right.
I think that's what the federation's job should be. As for personal drivers trying to make it, if I was to give money to every person that told me on Facebook that they're going to be a pro driver, or if I got $1 for every person that told me they're going to be a pro driver right now, I'll probably have $100. But it's just not. It's I see this a lot with people who say we can't afford this and we can't afford that. I mean, there's people around the world that, I mean, we here in the Dominican Republic, RCs, when I was doing it, it's more expensive than it ever would be in America. You know what I mean? Guys are crying about $50 for a gallon of fuel. Now, I was paying $75 for gallons of fuel back in the early 2000s back home in Bermuda and whatnot. If you're going to be a pro driver, you're going to have to do it on your own. Like everybody else has kind of done it. Some people get a little bit more help early out because they show talent from a young age, and they probably get help, and that probably doesn't work out for them either. It's happened many times in RC. Being a professional RC car driver is probably one of the hardest things in the world. To make a living doing this is extremely hard. That's why there's only a handful of people doing this. The federation's job is to help out the tracks that support it. I would like to see the federations. I remember a few weeks ago, a guy, I think in a track in Georgia, got hit in the face and lost teeth and all that stuff. I think the federations should be helping to pay for that. If they hadn't, if that track was a raw track, they would have insurance, and that would help pay for that. But right. As for, I mean, and everybody, if you want to make it, like, you don't see, who can I use, the FIA or you know like that. You don't see these guys helping individual drivers grow up. It's up to the companies. Like it's like, let's take Lewis Hamilton for an example. Mm-hmm. Lewis Hamilton was super talented when he was young, and McLaren pumped a lot of McLaren, I believe it was, pumped a lot of money into him to help him come along, which is great. I think we need programs like that, but that was the actual company. The federations need to focus on providing insurance, making sure tracks are good, making sure we have representatives of the federations at these races so things can go right. We can get people teching cars properly, doing all this stuff, actually establishing some rules in the racing No offense in America, because right now in America, racing's like the Wild West. So that's where I think the federations come on. But to help a driver get the man, it's just kind of. I see so many people that say, if I just had more money, I would be good, and I would do this and I would do that, or it's because of money that I'm not a pro driver. It's not really because of money. It's because of you. Like, you know what I mean? Not able to recognize you overestimating your skills, and then not, therefore, this is what JQ says this a lot, overestimating your skills and not able to look and focus on what you're not good at. And I run into a lot of that. It's not, I mean, yes, obviously we need tires and stuff like that, but man, if you're on a level where you're gonna make a main at a national, which we have coming up in 2 weeks, sir, you're probably on the road to getting free stuff anyway. Probably not getting paid, but I just don't think that's the federation's job. I think that money should go to promoting RC, putting on cool races, working on tracks that need work. Like, give some of that money to tracks who are members. Like, they may need a ramp for wheelchair access. They may want to take some of that money and start a spec slash class or something. That's what that money, not for, because too many people would abuse that. Oh, give me the money, and then like, oh, I didn't work out for me. You didn't give me enough money to become a pro. No, that's not how it works. If you want to be a pro driver, you work your ass off. You put in the time, you put in money. When people tell me they put in too much money in RC, but I also notice they have a big camper that they can pull along with a big truck that they pull it along with, and all that type of stuff. That's when you spend a lot of money on RC. Period. People, it's not about money. Not about money. It's about having talent. There's lots of people that have talent. There's lots of people that have been talented drivers and never made it to being a pro driver. They're maybe this close to being there, but they got out right before they were about to get pro. You ever seen that meme? If the diamond mine, you have a guy that's so close and he gives up, and there's another guy coming down there to get it. But that happens a lot in RC. And I think all people, like I see now too many people want to come in here and be pro drivers. And I don't think that should be the goal. I think your goal should be to have fun and get better. And I'll be honest, if you're 25 years old and you're still talking about being a pro driver, it's done. You're not going to be a pro driver at 25 years old. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to dash anybody's dreams. And I'll be honest, when you're 25 to 31, you're already, if you're good, you got your life set and you're making a good bit of money. It ain't all peaches and cream and cupcakes and unicorns as a pro driver. Some guys are making good money. Some guys just about scrape by. It's not like there's a plethora. There's a big budget for these guys to race. Sorry, I know I talked too long, but that's my take.
What do you think, JQ?
I think another thing that federation should do is they should, because only the federations can make a racing format standard, really, if we think about it. Like, we all qualify the same way pretty much, and it's called IFMAR qualifying. Well, IFMAR is the global federation for racing, right?
Yeah.
So I think also what federations should do, like their main focus really should be to figure out what's the next standard format. How should we race so that we are more attractive for new people? How do we make this racing more attractive? So let's come up with a really good sort of club/local race format. So it's something that we promote and we would want to standardize. So when new people come in, that's how they race, because it's the most fun way to race RC cars. Let's do that. Let's have a better format for the big championship races that is fair and more fun and is also good to show to people, you know? So
Yeah.
That's what the federation should do, in my opinion, because if they do it and they adopt it, then everyone sort of does. It's fine. I can make a YouTube video and I can, get a couple of races to run some different format, and we can have an RCGP series running a different format, but it won't make it sort of universally accepted. The federations do that.
Okay.
So that's an important job that I think they have.
Yeah. Okay. 916 VP was saying, how's the part support for the new car in the US? And will it be available through A-Main or Horizon?
Well, it's going to be Mayako USA, which is Beach RC. who are running that. So that's where you can get parts, and also BHRC will have parts. And then we'll have a number of service centers also around the country. So that's what I know of now.
And Dave Shank was saying he tried to order the Invisible Speed book, but it says there are no shipping in his area. He stays in Tampa, Florida, USA.
We've shipped a bunch to America, so just make sure his address is put in correctly, or zip codes or whatever you have over there. So
all my stuff goes to Miami, so I got mine.
Yeah. And he also wanted to know what you think about the Techno 2.0 car and truck.
I think, well, I don't really know anything about the truck, but the new Techno buggy, I think it seems to be really good on American tracks.
Yeah.
And I haven't really seen the new one on any European tracks or European style tracks, so I don't know. But I think they are the ugliest cars ever. Not just the body shell, just everything about it is horrible. But the good thing is that they are unique in many ways and different to the norm, and they work well. And on some specific conditions, they work better than seemingly the other cars. So yeah. Cool. So in that sense, I'd have to say,
I know I want a Techno e-truggy.
Good.
E-trug, man, how you get on this e-trugger kit? Can you the biggest nitro is
I know, just because I just won't have time at races.
Glory, but you want a e-buggy, an e-truggy kit at that.
That's right. I'm gonna run e-truggy. I'm Techno e-truggy too. I think Techno's done a great team with their team. I think they have the most stacked 8-scale team lineup in the market right now. And as for their cars, they obviously seem to be doing good in America. Like JQ said, we need to see how they do in Europe. But it's like, I think with Techno, they kind of just got all these drivers and they threw them out, like they threw them in a pit and said, a fight to the death, and whoever comes out living at the end of the year will be Techno drivers.
Yeah.
Pro Techno drivers.
Okay. 916 VP was asking JQ, what you think about a RTR kit? Wouldn't that be easier for a new person to come into the on the racing side of the hobby? Like how Losi has their buggy and truggy RTR kits.
I think that the ready to run is only good if you have a child, for example, and you aren't really sure how interested they are in racing, and you don't really want to spend all that money, and you don't really have anything either. So then, okay, they want to race, but they're like, I don't know, 7 years old or something, and they might change their mind in a week, and you don't really know. So, okay, then a ready to run makes sense. But if you're an adult or teenager and you want to race, then I don't think a ready to run is worth it. The problem is that the price levels are so low that you can't make a good enough ready to run. So it's fine for someone who just starts racing but doesn't know that what are they really going to keep at it or not. They are really young. It doesn't matter really what they drive. Okay, for them it's fine because you'll get a few years, you'll know that, okay, this is something they want to keep doing. Okay, and then you start upgrading. But if you know already that this is what you want to do, then it's not worth it because you'd get it and then almost immediately you'd want to get something else. So it's not a really good investment. So if money is tight, then it makes much more sense to get a secondhand pro race buggy, for example, or find someone who's selling sort of everything, like car and a bunch of spares and tires and an engine and a radio or whatever. Like, get that instead.
Okay. So,
can I touch on something that I saw here with RC Jars, who makes some really good videos off it. This dude does all his work off his iPhone. It's incredible. Kevin Winters. He says, when you watch the local fast guy that can lap you quickly, then go to a big race and watch your local fast guy get lapped. You see how slow you are compared to the pros. I run into this a lot too. people that are regionally fast, like within a few states, and there's like they're super excited and they just don't get out of that region. And when they get out of that, they they're running pro or whatever, and they get out of that region, and then they kind of get a reality check when they get up against other national, like when you go to a national race. When I make like a national race, like I would like say any of the race time events where a big group of people go, obviously like DNC, Silver State, and some of these bigger races like they have in Texas and the Southeast, where people from around, the East Coast and everything go. It's easy to be a big fish in a little pond, but when you're a big fish in an ocean, when the ocean is America, you know what I mean? You really see how that you're not the big fish anymore. And I've run into this quite a few times, and it discourages people. And I'm just like, hey, if you're gonna be serious about this, you kind of have to get out of your region, because especially if you're the fastest guy in your region and nobody's beating you, kind of have to get out there, because the only way you're gonna get better is to race around faster people. And a lot of people just don't really know how fast these people are. They may think, oh, Ryan Lutz and Adam Drake came to my track and I was only 2 laps off their pace. Oh, that's still a lot. Or what, whatever. They might say I was only 20 seconds off their pace. Them guys aren't even pushing like that. They don't have anybody to push against. They're just kind of there. I mean, there's an odd time where the track and where all the heavens meet and everything comes together, where a local guy can beat one of these guys if it's at his local track and he's really good, but it rarely happens. And I don't think when Adam Drake or Ryan Lutz go and they're the only pro guy there that they're absolutely pushing. That's what I call real speed. You haven't seen real speed until you get to a DNC, a Nationals, a PNB, or a Worlds even more. When you see these people from around America or around the world all battling each other for tenths of a second, that's when you see real speed. And a lot of people just don't get that when I say that to them.
Okay, JQ, what you think
about what?
About RC Jersey's question. When he
it's
said,
like, yeah,
he said when you watch the local fast guy can lap you quickly, then he goes to a big race and watch your local fast guy get lapped. You see how slow you are compared to the pros. So,
JQ,
yeah,
I have a question for you.
I don't know.
I have a question for you.
What?
When you was the 10-time Nordic champion, right?
When I still am.
Okay, sorry, 10-time Nordic champion. And you came over to California for the first time. What was your level at compared to the other guys?
I was nothing when I came over.
Okay, so you hadn't won a Nordic championship yet. Or did you?
When did I go over there? I can't remember if maybe I had won the first one, which was at my home track.
Okay.
That's possible.
But I would say that going to DNC.
But my first race at DNC, I think I was like in the D main or something.
Okay. That's actually not bad, because that's back when they still had just one class, I would say.
Maybe.
But,
I don't know.
mean, you getting over to California was your chance to get to see real speed and to hang out with guys that were faster. You had probably won a Nordic championship. And I say Nordic, I'm talking about the Nordic champions. It's an inside joke between Dagani, JQ, and I. And you got over to California and you just realized that you was just off pace with these guys, but you got faster. That's why to this day, you still do 6 months or 5 months in America every time. When you can, obviously not recently. But I think you're a prime example. Like when you're in California and you're practicing and you're racing good, like you are definitely on another level than you usually are. I saw that at in 2018 at DNC. You had been in California practicing racing. You was ready. You was confident. Yes, you had motor issues, but you kind of figured that out. And then you qualified pretty good. And then you did. Then you got kicked out. But I definitely think it's a thing, man. People need to get around fast people and just see, like, these guys are fast, man. These guys, like the progression in, like, you can progress fast in sportsman, progress fast and open, but when you get to that pro class, it's such minute steps. And the gains are so hard to come by. A lot of people get discouraged.
Okay, let me ask y'all this. For RC racing, okay, do you think it'll be a benefit for racers to look at like film, like look at different races of different of their opponents and really dissect how they drive, and maybe you can find that tenth of a second or know that the tendencies of your competitor to put you in a better situation, to put you in there for the win. You know what I'm saying? You think that would help as far as like getting better?
I think it would help more to watch your own driving. So someone films you and you watch your own driving. And maybe if you have the same track of watching video of a top driver or a better driver driving, then you can see the difference. But watching video of yourself is helpful because it looks different to when you're on the driver's stand driving. And the video should be from the driver's stand,
Yeah.
But just because you aren't in the moment of driving, it will look different, and you can notice things about your own driving.
Okay. And quick Nova RC, he wanted to know, can you explain engine ports? How do you determine what type of engine to run at certain tracks, or is there a particular engine that works well on most tracks in 1/8 scale buggy?
I honestly don't know, and I would say that most of the time there's like one engine, and then people just run that everywhere. So they have one engine they like, and that's what they run everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. Let's see here.
I think Send It RC said, should the nationals should be more of a qualify. I agree with that. He says, should you be able to qualify to get into the nationals? And that's something that I've been wanting to see, but that would mean that Raw would actually have to be functional. And right now, I don't think they're functional. They're going to put on a great event at the nationals, but that's the only thing they do. They don't do anything else throughout the year, in my opinion. That's why we need to change Raw. We need to sign up and join Raw and vote people in that will affect change in Raw. That's my opinion. But there should be regionals to be held to qualify you. I believe there used to be. You had to race the regionals to qualify to the nationals, and then you go. I think that's only fair. Then you was actually a regional champion, which meant something. Now it doesn't mean anything, to be honest. And I mean, yeah, it means something, but like you didn't qualify into the nationals because of that. And I think regionals would help people because a lot of people don't even know how to race the nationals. They go there, they got tech, they're doing it IFMAR style, ladder style. People aren't used to that. So do some regionals in the same way you would do a nationals, and just the way the rest of the world races, because of the IFMAR world, you race IFMAR style and all that stuff. There's no ABCD mains, it's odd and even mains.
Yeah.
So definitely think Raw needs to step it up, but it's hard. There's so many big races going on, or quote unquote big races, and everybody wants to have a big race. So it's, where do you fit it in?
Okay. But yeah, I had one more question for y'all. This kind of is I guess both of y'all could answer this or take turns answering this. Okay, say both of y'all are owners of a race team and y'all are having a meeting for y'all racers. Okay, say you bring Marco Barufalo in your room and y'all having a closed door, sit down, one-on-one chat about how he been racing and how he can do better, and how what you would want him to do far as to be a better racer. What would that be? What would that talk be with Marco Barufalo, JQ? What would you tell him if you was his race manager and y'all having a one-on-one race, one-on-one conversation? What would your advice be for him?
I would try to figure out a way how to keep his brain on while he races.
What
So
you mean by
how to keep his brain connected to the rest of his body and on, so that he doesn't make such ridiculous moves on the track, taking other people out, taking himself out, making dumb mistakes when there's no need for it. And then I would fire whoever his mechanic is. If it's himself, then I would fire himself and get someone to work on his car. If it's his dad, then he's fired. I don't know, because he always has problems. Engine falling out, flaming out, parts falling off. Like, Jesus Christ. If this is your job, then figure out how to be a better racer, okay? Step number 1, stop making dumb decisions on the track. Step number 2, finish your races. Okay, that's it. You have the speed, you have the talent. Now work on those 2 things.
I would have to agree with you, Joseph. I think he's probably one of the most underrated drivers out there. I mean, he beat everybody last 2 weeks ago in the Italian Nats warm up. Mind you, Ongaro broke or ran out of fuel on the last lap, but he still won. And then I think he was in the lead. I think he was doing well this weekend at the Italian Nats, and it looks like Polito won. No, I'm nerds. I'm a nerd for like European racing. I think I saw Barufalo make Mayfield nervous at DNC, and I watched him drive. I watched that guy drive that car, and I was like, he is still on 4 wheels. I think if he could just back it down 5% and learn to save that 5% for when he needs it, he will win a lot more races, and he will finish a lot more races. So I think people kind of underestimate him because he's like from Europe and nobody really knew who he was. And then obviously in 2019, Mayfield wanted to throat punch him, and people was like, who's this guy to dare to challenge Mayfield? Oh, yeah. That's Marco Barufalo, Madman Marco, and I love it. I want him to do well. I want all the Europeans to come over and beat up on the Americans, and then the American Euro beef can take off to higher heights, and then we actually have some storylines going into these races. I just love when I see the Europeans and the Americans race, and right now he's probably one of the most, people don't like him, they don't know him, and they underestimate him, but that guy can beat, I think Marco Barufalo can beat anybody in RC when he's got everything going right.
Okay, let's answer this question about Bob RC. This is a good one right here. He says, I watched PNB on Live RC and the stands were empty. Why isn't there more marketing emphasized on the events and get people in those stands? With more people watching, more will get into the hobby.
We actually, this is one of my pet peeves all the time. It would take the promoter to promote to the people around. Okay, it's in Tennessee. You've been to PNB. It's not much going on in White Pines, Tennessee on a Sunday, I'm sure. At least promote the pro mains, because the pro mains are like after lunch, midday, like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. I would, if I was Dave, I would just like promote that race, period. I'd be like, come on Sunday, come see the final. And I would make, Joseph's gonna laugh, but I would just like demand all the teams who, like, I'd be like, look, I want all your drivers set up in their uniforms. Well, we don't have uniforms, in their black RC shirts or whatever, with their cars, maybe with a banner on a table. Let's sit down. Let's charge people, or not charge people. Do what they did at the race in what was it called? That big race where they had spectators and stuff like that. Gave people tickets. Went on the radio, gave people tickets away, all that type of stuff. They treated it like a big deal, so people showed up. I can't remember the race, Joseph. Can you remember the race that I'm talking about? It had the stadium and Mayfield
Manufacturers Cup.
Yeah, Manufacturers Cup. Invite people to come. Make it simple. Just make that A-man for them simple. Have those pro guys meeting people as they come, like a factory row where people can maybe get a picture with them or get a poster with signed their autographs. Make it a big deal, and people will take it as a big deal. Right now, we just want to hide it, and the promoters don't need spectators, so they're not trying, because the promoters don't need spectators. Their goal is not to get more people into RC. Their goal is to make as much money as they can at that race, which is fine, because that's what that race is for, to make money. They provide a service, blah, blah, blah. But it would be great to see if they just took a few dollars, put it into promoting to the people around the area, especially something like Silver State and stuff like that, and get people in, get a person to commentate on that race who will make it exciting for the average person who doesn't know anything about RC.
Yeah.
Give them a pamphlet, something, man. Let people
Yep.
know who these people are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the format also helps for
Yeah.
that. So it would make sense to sort of promote it as a show, and that part of the show is like main day for the mains or whatever. So it's like a few hours you go there and you have an experience, you know, like Supercross. Most people don't go there for the whole day. They show up at 7 p.m. and then they watch the show. But super fans go there earlier and watch all practice and all that stuff, right? So the same idea here, like figure out, okay, we have a few hours here in the evening or daytime even. We have a few hours window where we need to invite everyone for this time to watch this racing, and that way people can go and have a nice experience where they actually know what's going on. Okay, these guys are racing, and look at that small kid, he's racing against those adults. Let's support him. He's the yellow car, you know, and then he does well, and wow, they had a great experience at the RC race. You know, it takes more than just let's go and sit in a fucking smoky barn at PMB, watch blurry blobs go around the track and not know what the hell is going on. That's not going to make anyone want to race RC, you know? So you have to look at the whole big picture, not just let's get people to the track. Like, that's too short-sighted, you know? There's more to it. That's why we need good federations.
Yeah. Bob's right. That rocket car jump would have definitely drawn people in, and then you could have just migrated them into, you could have migrated into the mains. We need to treat this big. Like, if we keep treating this like, I always say it, we're either a satanic cult or we're underground dogfighting ring. We're hiding in places people can't find us. We're not really receptive to new people. We're like introverts. We're sitting there working on our car. Oh, please don't look at me. Then you look. Like, we have pro drivers that aren't professional. Like, make them do their jobs. Like, we do not utilize these pro drivers as much. If I had a company, I'll be telling my driver, like, hey man, we're gonna film promos, you're gonna talk shit. If you wanna be a cowboy, we'll make you wear a cowboy hat, all that type of stuff. We need personality, we need charisma in RC. We have none of it. That's why we get excited when Mayfield says he's gonna throat punch somebody. We all know he's not gonna throat punch somebody. But maybe we do need a little pushing and shoving on the driver's stand once in a while, or something like that. The industry right now is so PC, vanilla. Like, nobody wants to say anything bad. Nobody wants to upset everybody. But these guys, you bet your boots on that driver stand. When that turn sounds, these guys want to beat each other.
Right.
They don't want. Forget all that good luck BS. Like, yeah, I'm here to kick ass and take names. When that driver comes out, he will be my favorite driver.
Okay, my boy, Luke and Joe's Outdoors. He just wanted to know. He has Ultimate Engines, man. He just want to know what would be the best way to. He want to give some advice on having more longevity out of the engines. What should he do? He says he's been running the Bones Brew fuel, so he just want. Yeah, he just want to get more.
They should last longer than that. Like, don't run them too lean. I don't know. Break in carefully. It should last longer than 2 gallons.
Mm-hmm. Shouldn't be getting pinched at 2 gallons. It might be just lean. You know what I mean? Wearing that piston and sleeve out.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah. Okay, back to what I was talking about. Y'all's the racing managers, and y'all over these drivers, and y'all having a one-on-one, closed door conversation with these guys. Okay, the next guy, we did Buffalo. Okay, Canas. What would y'all tell Canas?
Learn proper English so we could utilize.
I'd tell him to piss off.
That's your.
Yeah. But yeah,
no, Canas is fast, dude. Don't get it twisted. That guy is extremely fast. Oh, because of RCGP 50-50?
50-50.
Oh, that wasn't on me. Just many things. He can just
No, that was whatchamacallit? Shucks.
No, it was him, but that was Canas and Ronnie Fark.
Right.
And
I think
I just tell him to piss off.
So you kick him off the team.
Yeah.
You would love to have Canas running.
So you
stop your noise.
So you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. I would never.
Hold on, wait on. If it was
watch,
a team,
Canas joins Mayako in 2022.
Not gonna happen.
If it was a team race, and it was like JQ Racing, Canassa's on the team, and we're battling with Techno. So you want to put Canassa just be the hit man? You can use Canassa.
No, he can win.
I can use Canas, yeah.
He says
I
he
can
be
use
the hit
Canas.
man.
Take everyone out.
But yeah, okay. What about Seth Van Dalen?
I would.
Who want to go first?
Seth is really good. He's still young. I think I don't know. Like, I think Seth is an enigma. I don't think he's going to be driving a Techno next year. I think if I was to tell Seth anything, I would be like, keep your options open. I'll be like, just go for it, man. You got the speed. He just needs to. He actually did well at Silver State too in the main too by holding on and finishing second, and he went back and all that stuff. He needs a win. I'll be like, you need a win at all by any means necessary. If you got to take that guy out, take him out. Yeah. If that means you're going to be branded as a dirty driver, embrace it. That way, guys will know not to mess with you. Like, you know, if you come close to Seth, he might give you a tire. Like, sometimes you got to take that respect. Like, you know, sometimes you just got to take it.
Yeah, yeah. What you think, JQ?
I don't really have anything to say, to be honest.
That is like, you think he's going to have this great answer, and that's what he comes up with. That's typical JQ.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good because I think did Seth get? I'm just asking this question. Did Seth get kind of like had to suspended from Techno?
I think I will say this. Techno runs a very tight ship. I mean, they almost suspended Tebow at one point because Tebow and the owner, Daniel Lewis, got at it. While Tebow was driving, it was probably emotional. And probably, you know what? Probably Tebow needed that too. Like a little like slap into reality. Hey, you may be the fast guy here, but I pay your bills. And I think it calmed him down. I think with Seth, I'll be honest with you, I sense a lot of frustration from Seth and his dad. It comes from that I believe they want to be paid pro drivers. And I think they're definitely on that road. I think if he can get a win or some really good performances this year, he should definitely be a paid driver. If he isn't getting paid already, I don't think he is. I don't think Techno can afford to pay him, Bornhorst, Tebow, McBride, and Jones. Yeah. So I think he gets on the team. He sees McBride coming on Techno. He sees Jones. I'm pretty sure Jones is getting paid. These guys are getting paid. And then he's not. Like, and he's been there all this time. I think that kind of might have, if he played on him a little bit. I don't know why he got suspended. That's the rumor. But he was definitely away for a month or more than a month. And I was like, this guy needs to be racing.
Because, like I said, he came back to Silver State and he seemed like he kind of raced with a little attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though
he should be, but he should have an attitude.
Yeah. So, you know, but then again, on the reverse side, why do companies get mad when these guys develop new parts for the cars when they can develop that and put it towards their car? Why would that be a problem when you got a racer that's
a good question for JQ.
Making a part that's gonna better your car, and he's on your team? Why don't you take advantage of that situation?
Because that's not their job. Their job is to do the best with what they have. And the brand decides what is being developed and how. And then the brand gives them parts to try and test. And if the driver does stuff on their own because they want to or have the ability to or whatever, then they should do that and then go to the team and say, hey, look, I found this. And then the team tells them if they can race them or not publicly. Because let's say that they make a new towing block, for example, and the team has a towing block that they are selling or want to sell or need to sell or whatever. Then if this guy then shows up with his own Dremel-made towing block, everyone thinks that that's what you need. There are two downsides to that. One, the brand maybe can't sell the part that they need to sell right now. And maybe people start thinking that the only way to go fast is to modify or run something different, etc., etc. So there are many reasons like this why that is not a good thing. And also, well, not many companies do this really, but if a car is being developed properly, then there's no room for someone to just come in and fucking invent something on their own, because it's not going to be in that sort of, it's not going to fit the big picture of what's being done. Maybe by chance, by luck, it will, but most likely it won't.
But if you have this part that's working, and it's showing up that it's working for sure, when that in the end product, would that be a better when that sell the buggy?
Yeah, but there are many parts. There are many parts that only work in some conditions, or for some skill level driver, or in certain combinations of things. And maybe it's something that only works, but it's too complicated, or it's for some other reason not feasible.
Yeah.
You know? So, or maybe it's something that works really well, but it's like a choice. Like there's two different options and both work. And that you just happen to choose the other one of those two choices. You know, so there are many reasons like that. So really, the point is that a driver's job is to race the car and win and promote it so that people buy the car itself and the parts for the car. That's the job of the racer. And then they can also be used to develop the car further. But that is done together with the brand. And that is not done by running non-available parts at races, however the driver chooses to. That's up to the brand to decide.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If the brand says you can run it, you can run it. You can, like, imagine you're a factory driver and you go to a race and you got HB shocks on your car and you're running a let's say a JQ, like, you know, because we had this issue with people too. If I tell you to run a part, it's because I know it's going to work, right? It's maybe not like a shock shaft or something like that. Yeah. Well, you're talking about like Joseph said, that toe plate might work here. It might work on a particular track. It might work for Seth. What about, does everybody that's running a Techno have those toe plates? I don't know. If they do, then maybe Techno wants to make them and sell them. It kind of, you got a conflict of interest. Like you're getting paid. You're eventually probably going to get paid by this company. So you have to run what they say. Now, if they say, hey, you know, okay, we know this isn't working. Like, let's take let's look at like what happened at the 2018 Worlds of Reds and Mayfield and the OS and all that stuff. Nobody will know exactly what happened because we weren't there. Some people say Reds said it was okay. They insist, like others say Mayfield insisted or whatnot. When you have the okay from all the companies to do that, then that's fine. The thing is when you try to hide it, like sometimes you just got to be straight up and say, okay, we weren't happy with this. We couldn't do this. So we're going to run this, you know, or at least like in Mayfield, you should have drummed off the OS signature on the engine, right. But you just can't have everybody running. Like I kind of take it serious. If I give you a discount, if we give you a discount, you're part of the team. There are some rules that you have to play by. I know we're kind of slack at JQ Racing, and I'm pretty easy with guys if they want to run something that they want to try and whatnot. But it's just you can't have everybody just like, especially when you're at that level, because so many people are going to look at your cars. You know what I mean? Yep. So people's gonna be like, well, this person had this. Well, I need that. Everybody thinks they need that. Really what they need is a little percent of the talent that driver has more than anything.
I got you. Yeah. Okay. Back to the race. The race manager question. Okay. Next person I had online was Tyler Jones. What would y'all tell Tyler Jones?
Nothing. Pick someone that I can answer, and then I have to go. So one more guy.
Tyler Jones is good. I don't know what's going on. If they say he keeps flaming out, he flamed out at the Nationals. I don't know what happened to him at Silver State. I mean, he was so good. He needs to finish races. That's what he kind of needs to do. By all means, he needs to finish a race by all means necessary.
Okay. This is the last one. It's 2-1.
Okay.
All right. Mayfield been dominating. He been dominating now. But you got David Wonderful in the corner over here, he ain't really been racing. He's seeing Mayfield dominate. What would you tell Wonderful?
I don't think we have to tell him anything. I think he's confident as it is.
And there's no need to say anything.
Yeah, you talk to Runafalk and he'd be like, "Oh, I would have taken this line at Silver State and beat everybody." He's super confident. He's probably one of the most confident people that I've ever met. I just think he would need some. I honestly feel Runafalk's one of the guys that could come right out. He hasn't been raced in over a year officially, and really beat Mayfield heads up. I do, just because I just think after that DNC, I know we keep going back to DNC a year ago, but he was just so good at that, and he was just so much better than the other guys at that race. And he's got his program is really good. Before it was always something in his program that would let him down. Yeah. But now he seems to have that all fixed, and he doesn't need any talking to. He knows what he's got to do, and he'll tell you what he's going to do, and he'll do it. That's how confident he is. One thing I'll say about Runafalk, whatever he decided to do in life, he could have been a professional golfer, soccer player, whatever he wanted to do in life, I think he would be really good at it. That's just the mindset and determination that I've learned. Joseph has known him longer than me, but I've gotten to know from him. It's his mindset, and I think if a lot of pros followed his mindset, like he gets it. He knows he has to do social media. He knows he has to promote. He wants to make RC bigger. Yeah. He wants to build his brand. I think if more racers followed that they would understand what, like, he's the total package. Like when I think of a great pro racer, it's Runafalk. Like he has everything that we need to promote our sport.
JQ, what would you say? Would you still let him run 10 scale, or would you tell him just to focus on 8 scale? What would you say, JQ, to him?
I mean, he's good enough where even if he focuses on 8 scale, he can still go to certain 10 scale races and still do well. Like just take a sort of short time to practice it a bit, and that's enough. So, I mean, he would be good for both, actually.
Okay. But yeah, man. Just one more thing, man. We're gonna wrap this up because it could go on. We may have to do this again another time. But so JQ, what's your future plans? Could JQ go into politics in the future, or what?
No.
Do you see yourself doing that, or what's your future goal in RC and personally? I know you do the philanthropy thing with the organizations that people really don't know about. Speak on that.
I don't really know how long I will sort of really care about RC racing enough to where it's most of my life. I don't know that, but for the time being it is. So we've already covered all the Mayako stuff. RCGP, there's still some things to do on that side of sort of improving the professional racing. So, yeah. And also the image of racing and formats and RC of Nations, which is this sort of new idea of having teams from each country compete. That's also something I would like to make happen. And personally, in racing, I would still like to sort of go somewhere, my camera died. That's a good sign. We have to stop soon. So I would still like to go somewhere and have a result that I'm personally proud of and happy with as a racer. Then, sort of car designer, I would like to have my car raced by top professional drivers and winning, some big races in the world. So those are all sort of different, separate goals that are sort of all tied into one, I guess.
Yeah.
Over the next sort of, I don't know, let's say 5 years. And other than that, I think that I do enjoy traveling a lot. So I'd like to do something where, I can still travel, even if it isn't to an RC race.
Cool. Okay. That's what's up.
Maybe I still have that sort of JQ Threads clothing brand idea. And I mean, it does exist. but I haven't really been doing much with it. The whole idea of it is to build a brand around the idea of providing opportunities. So it's a clothing brand with a positive message and a positive sort of mission of providing opportunities to people who need them for whatever reason. So that's a sort of completely different project that I may or may not sort of pursue more in the future.
Well, okay. Hey, man, I appreciate you, JQ, coming through, just giving me an opportunity to do a little quick interview with you, man. And thank you for the opportunity. Lefty, you know, I always appreciate you, bro. I'll be hitting both of y'all up, just checking in, you know what I'm saying? And
Can I have a shameless plug?
go ahead. JQ, anything? Go ahead.
Thank you for having me on, Corey. I'm watching your channel grow. I enjoyed my time that I came on her, and your group of YouTubers and guys that follow you are following me now, and like Nitro Freak and Guru RC and all these guys. I appreciate them coming over and watching the lives that we do at the No Name RC podcast. So keep doing what you're doing, her. This all helps. Like every bit of content for RC out there helps somewhat. You know what I mean? And if you guys are interested, you know I'm going to the Nationals. I fly out of her next week, and I'm going to the Nationals on a couple of tracks on the way up and down. I'm looking forward to having fun, and we're gonna try to do some decent coverage and analysis of the racing and little videos here and there, and definitely some live podcasts. So if you guys can check into that and follow that, that would be great. Also, let's get this dude up to 500 subs. So let's share that. And yeah, I had fun, you know, and it was good to have JQ on her, and it's good to be guests together. We've never really been guests together, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, anytime, man. Like I say, I'll probably be reaching out to y'all again just to maybe do like a recap on the Nationals or something like that or something, you know. Like I say, JQ, I appreciate the time, and man, just keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate both of y'all, and I appreciate my Nitro, my RC family, and if you ain't ripping, you tripping. Left high salute, and we'll catch y'all again. All right,
Yeah,
y'all.
man. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. All right,
Bye.
bye.
Bye, everybody.